I brought y'all here for a reason. I brought y'all here for a reason. You know, there are the T virus, aka Tyrant virus, and Resident Evil stuff viruses. You know how bad those are, right? Well, luckily for us, it's not real. And hopefully it never becomes real. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Or at least not Resident Evil wise. But real wise. Now, let's get this over with. Hold up. Now, let's talk about this, shall we? I'm gonna make sure you hear me by taking the microphone up close. Now, I'm gonna talk about these in order. And by the way, this is Scientist GatorGamer. And well, if you have a better name, then comment down below. Anyway, I'm sick of this whole whatnot, and you're probably guessing what, especially from the title above. But I'm gonna work up to telling that later. First, I have hidden examples of 3 different real-life viruses, and one worse than another. And one could be not as bad in some way, but bad on another way. One of them is bad, but treatable. Anyway, here we got first up. I'm gonna start from big to small. I mean, small to big, sorry. Even a scientist can make its mistakes. First off, we got the flu, the classic flu virus. And you know how it is, because a load of you probably had flu before, and yet there was a pandemic of it once that I know of. Well, flu virus. Quite annoying, doesn't make you feel nice, but yet, like all viruses, you can only be infected with flu at least maybe once or twice. And another thing, causes fever, chills, and cough, sneeze possibly, and what such. And yet, it's quite a small virus though, because even though there are treatments and whatnot for it nowadays, but for not all people probably need the treatments, because all it needs is just a couple of body immune system strength, and that's all you probably need to defeat the flu. And next up, something very a nasty, ferocious virus. Probably the ones that convinced people to make zombie movies. We got the rabies virus. Nasty thing. Nasty little bug that'll make you ill. And not only ill, it gives you a bad case of the munchies, rage, and just all different kinds of just messes with your emotional states. And yet, probably your regular eating styles as well. It can infect you and give you all different kinds of munchies and mad-like symptoms. And yet, not only that, it is capable of killing you. But I don't think there was a pandemic for this before. And in fact, I probably should have said this before, but there are many of these viruses that we know of, but a bunch of them we probably don't know of, because there are probably some viruses still out there that haven't been spreaded out to be shown by the world yet. But anyway, unlike the flu, this makes you quite violent sometimes. And yet, unlike the flu, which you probably don't need treating, well, rabies is a definite yes for needing of treatments. Or otherwise, either your death and other people's death, not only by being infected, but just being bitten by whoever that's been infected. Probably kill you. Probably rip your neck out if you're infected with that. And now, talk about the nastiest, most annoying one that you probably know of. And yet, the main thing we're here anyways. The most annoying, anger-causing virus for me. And well, this is why we're all locked up and cooped up in our houses like chickens. Even though we aren't chickens, We're still weak like chickens compared to this virus when it infects you. And yet, our precious elders and children we have to protect and keep far away from this virus as possible. And yet, maybe our whole families in any other age is probably a danger too. But there are chances. And probably from the youngest ages to the elder ages, I think teenagers probably have the best chance. But anyway, we got the one that's created the whole pandemic and the reason why we're all locked down and other such. The one and only COVID-19, aka the coronavirus. One of the most annoying viruses in my book to me. And yet this here virus caused our whole world to be collide upside down. And for months, we scientists and doctors have been trying our hardest to make just a vaccine, but so far, it just doesn't appear to be effective. Other kinds of drugs and other such doesn't appear to be effective. But anyway, we shall find a treatment, or at least we shall be rid of this virus, or otherwise things probably won't ever be the same. And yet this has caused all different kinds of conflict on our kind. And yet, I don't blame the government for this. Or at least, there's a lot of people that are probably blaming the government lately. When, well, I don't think the government has anything to do with this. But anyway, we're not really here to talk about the government or what other people probably think of it on conflict, when this is probably only half the thing of conflict that some people are being blamed for. But anyway, there are other kinds of things that this has enraged people for, and yet probably made more people infected just by enragement. And people that probably don't understand the needing of... Someone here is calling me. But anyway, let's see. Let's see what he's got to say. Now, my friend, what do you think of the whole coronavirus pandemic? Do you have any words to say?
What I think about the pandemic? Is this videoed?
Yes, it is.
Is this video for your YouTube?
Yes, it is.
Are you gonna get banned or something from talking about this?
Just speak what you truly think about the coronavirus, or just being locked down in your house. Have you been coping with it, or have you been not coping with it?
Well, I'm coping with it though, but the coronavirus is out of control. It's killing thousands of people.
Correct.
And I pray for the best for everyone in this world that's going through this global pandemic. And we're gonna get through it, I promise. It's no more deaths.
We shall.
It's gonna be alright.
We shall.
A lot of prayers.
Thank you very much.
Keep on praying, everyone.
Thank you very much,
God
my
will
friend.
be with.
Thank you very
God
much.
will be with you.
Thank you very much, my dear friend. Now, let me call you back later. Please. Let me call you back later. Anyway. Like he said, it has been costing a couple thousand lives, and probably not only the US, but for other countries as well. And yet, out of these other 3 viruses, well, this, from the flu, it's so weak that it probably doesn't even need treatments. But yet, it's still the distant cousin of the coronavirus. These two are distant cousins, even though the flu doesn't even need treating, while this definitely needs at least a few treatments in order to survive its reign of terror. This puny little bug creates a big difference in your life, and yet might even cost your life. But together, we scientists shall create a vaccine, or at least we shall all get through the pandemic, and then we shall all have our peace again. But we still might have to wait And well, it's been hard, okay? If you're probably angry about this, I am too. And in fact, I found a few ways to cope with it, but who knows? I might not even keep my sanity for much longer. Being far away from my friends, and I cannot wait any longer because I've been getting more ideas that I want to do with them. And this has costed our life. But I understand the meaning of quarantine because this has no treatment yet, if it might even get a treatment, and it has been costing a lot more than just regular lives that we don't know of. It might even cost our families and friends, and even maybe our siblings or ourselves. But together, as us people, and well, other judgments of communities have been made during the pandemic about being enraged by not just the coronavirus, but by other people, skin judgment and other such. But anyway, as we work together as just people, we will all be fine from this coronavirus. And even though, as much as some people probably want to say that it will be fine, and just this here is nothing to be worried about, well, that is not the case. Because it is not a joke. Anyway, a few advices I might give you, even though, whatnot. Just stay home. And keep social distancing like you never did it before. Even though some of you might not haven't. Because some of you might not have been born during a pandemic or not. Because I'm sure I know I wasn't. But anyway, we can avoid this virus, infected or not. We can avoid this virus. Wait, infected or not? It'd be hard to infect the virus when you're already infected with it under your skin. And speaking of that, once this gets under your skin, I bet even just 1 grand could fight your entire immune system until you're infected. And yet, even though there's probably not going to be just 1 grand of this virus, it'll probably be spread into dozens by the time it gets into your body. But that does not mean that we can't do something about it. But stay home. Make sure you're stocked on food and all different kinds of other supplies that'll keep you out of the streets. Wear face masks and stay away about at least a couple feet from people to keep from spreading it. And make sure we help slow the spread. And yet, they say that it might be getting thinner. Well, people that don't understand the need of social distancing and quarantine, they're probably spreading it right back up again. And if we want to get back to our normal lives, we must take it seriously. And I hope you guys know that. I bet a load of you do. And it's upsetting. It's real upsetting. That this puny little virus can make a very big difference. A very big difference. In fact, a global difference. A globe-wide difference. And yet, like some other things in life that can give you quite the baddest sickness, especially with no treatments, this does not have a treatment yet. Or at least, I don't think so. But if there is a good enough vaccine or anything, I'd be happy to see it go out to the world of whoever that's infected that's still alive. And hopefully that any treatment that's made by scientists would save lives. And I hope you guys save lives too, by keep social distancing. And yet, this coronavirus thinks it could take over our world, take over our lives, and ruin everything. This puny little thing think it'll spread across the world and take out all of our lives and ruin it for good? Well, no. We people have overcome many things before, and we shall overcome this. In fact. And yet, these two, it doesn't mean that these two aren't bad either. They are. Definitely rabies, that's for sure. And yet these two are like distant cousins to each other. Could be born in each other's blood, if you get what I'm saying. And like corona is like flu, but on steroids. Like a regular fighter. Able able to hold people and carry them out to safety themselves, able to hold hoses that probably have thousands of pounds worth of pressure. Like, you know how strong they could be. But imagine one being put on steroids, making them so strong that they could probably be a super soldier to someone else's army. And this could be stronger than just its cousin, the flu, which means that it is serious. Flu could probably feel bad. And yet, I heard of 18 people died from the flu. But this has caused thousands of lives, maybe even 1 million people in the world, not just a couple thousands in each country, but 1 million people altogether. And if you help keep social distancing, then we shall steer clear of this coronavirus. And remember this: it could be always near, and it'll attack anybody it gets in range of, and drain the life from them if they're infected. So, it's best to steer clear. And you know what the doctor says. Now, that's gonna be it for the day, you guys. And if you really enjoyed, then please like and subscribe, and we shall get through this. And yet, and you know what, me, I will entertain you through this whole entire pandemic till it's gone. And you know, there is hope still. GatorGamer chomping out. Goodbye.